So we'll kind of dive into some of these questions just so they're grabbing everything. Just an introduction to about yourself, and we'll kind of focus on the mortgage side first, but your background in the industry. So I guess about yourself, the mortgage, and did you start off, because we know you're in mortgage and real estate. Did you start off on one side, or did you just kind of like jump in, both feet first, or?
Yeah, well, I started in the real estate business. I've been licensed in real estate since 2007, April 2007. And I always remember the month because it was my birthday's in April. So it was a birthday gift that I gave to myself, was my real estate license. So it's a gift that keeps on giving. And the mortgage business was something that kind of it just manifested out of me trying to solve a pain point that I had. I had been trying to find a reliable partner to work with in terms of doing some cross-collaborative marketing, advertising, and I just wasn't successful in finding a good fit in terms of a professional that aligned with our goals, that also resonated with how we like to serve and treat our clientele, people that are more, like, as opposed to being transactional, I was looking more for people that were more relationship driven, which is really how we like to conduct our business. And so it literally, like, I was just in the shower, just kind of banging my head against the wall, and then it finally hit me in the head. You know what? Like, if you can't beat him, join him. So that was really what it came down to, is like, sometimes you got to throw some money at a problem to solve it.
Oh, for sure.
And that was the case in this case here. Was a question of, let me get my real estate license. Well, I have my mortgage, but my real estate license. Let me get my mortgage license so that I can at least control the advertising, because compliance on the mortgage side is very, very, very strict. You must have a license number, and that was really the thing for me. It wasn't the fact that, like, I don't have a problem sharing my business plans. I don't have a problem sharing my strategies, because just because I share it with someone doesn't mean that they know how to execute. I really believe that you can give someone the recipe and the ingredients to the greatest meal in the world, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to execute on it.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel the same way with my real estate business. So for me, it wasn't a question of, okay, I want to hoard all the opportunity for myself. It was, how can I take control of my marketing strategy without being reliant on someone that, and the scenarios where people would they be all gung-ho to start, and then they would just disappear, or would start and then they'd put some energy into building the infrastructure and the resources, and then again they'd fall off, or they'd take a different channel. I mean, and even people that take the idea and run with it and try to do it themselves. Again, I don't have a problem with people doing that, and I've seen for myself people try it, and of course they don't get the method to the madness, so they fail at it, right? So
it's hard to control someone else that's not, essentially directly part of your business, because they have their own business on the side.
And I didn't want to be feeling like I was being held hostage by someone for the marketing, for my strategy, really for me to be able to kind of run my business the way I want to. And that was essentially the motivation behind it. And because we really care about the service that we provide to our clientele, it also gives me a greater control now when I'm preferring, let's say, or if I'm partnering with someone that's not going to be more like on a team basis, I can be more selective with who I'm now working with, because I have the licensing in hand.
Yeah, no, for sure. Do you notice that when you got your license, did you see an initial shift in your business from the buyers or the sellers that you're working with? Did you find that overall it was more of a positive, more seamless flow in the transaction?
100%. And it's been it's not now, whenever, again, professional integrity speaking, like if I'm working with a real estate client and they're already actively working with a mortgage professional, I just keep my real estate hat on, and then I'll just focus on serving the client based on the needs that they've requested for me to serve. And I rather focus on that and then work as a partner with the mortgage professional on the other side to collaborate, as opposed to saying, well, no, we can do it all in-house. But there's been scenarios where having both have been very handy.
You've been using Agent Locator now for, I think it's 2016, I think I saw is your first order.
Correct.
2015, I think, or 20,
Yeah.
your first order came in 2015. Yes, you've been with us for some time. Now, are you currently running lead generation through Agent Locator? And
Exclusively.
Exclusively? What type of ads are you running? Running Google, Facebook,
Yep.
and what's your target for those ads?
Both. So we're running both Google AdWords and Facebook ads.
Okay.
Google AdWord, the pay-per-click advertising is for real estate buyers.
Okay.
And we have two different campaigns that we have set up, one for home buyers, one for condo buyers.
Okay.
We have I think we have 4, and then for Facebook ads, it's the mortgage campaign. So the pay-per-click advertising on Facebook lead gen is just strictly mortgage.
Okay.
And the mortgage campaigns that we have there are for refinancing, mortgage renewals,
Okay.
mortgage transfers, etc.
Do you find that with respect to the type of campaign on the mortgage side right now with the refinancing, do you find that that's a pretty strong campaign to be running, especially in this day and age that we're in?
Absolutely. It definitely, when I'm like analyzing the leads and I'm looking at the lead sources, I see refinancing and debt consolidation are the two campaigns that I'm seeing a larger draw and interest in terms of like lead activity. That being said, we're still very modest with the budget that we've been running because it's still relatively new. And so we wanted to give it an opportunity to trial and see how the campaigns are going. And really working with the stakeholders at Agent Locator has been fantastic because in real time, we're able to go back and adjust accordingly as needed. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with Adnan and Stefan and talk about what those particular Facebook ads would be like, so that we can get them to, so that once we're at a place where, okay, we've identified the areas that we're seeing the best growth, I think we want to maybe double down and increase our budget so that, Bam, come here. Yeah, we want to double down and increase our budget so that we can be focusing on providing individuals. Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's good. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
But that's basically that's the long and short of it. Now that we've had a few months kind of going through and seeing what's going to work best, I'm still optimizing the CRM to make it in terms of setting up our drips, the AI bot, the Twilio. There's some integrations there that I definitely want to revise and optimize first because despite the success that we've had with the system, we're not maximizing the full potential of it. And I see really big potential, and I want to get those pieces in place so that I can basically break the dam and just really turn on the campaign, like the ad spend, and maybe triple.
Yeah. And then what's your current process right now? So I guess on the mortgage side, when you're getting those debt consolidation lead type leads currently right now, what does that look like from the lead registering? You get the lead. What's your process as far as the follow-up and the initial contact with those leads? How does that look?
Usually, okay, and it always, again, like it depends on the time that the lead comes in. But let's assume during a regular business day, anytime before, let's say if we receive the lead between, let's say, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. The lead will receive, we'll send them an email right away, and then based on the type of request that they're submitting, we have resource guides as well that are created for them. So we have debt consolidation, refinance guides, etc., like supporting material that we've created already.
Okay.
That we have. So we would, so we'll send them we'll send them that information. We follow up with a text. I have a sales team that will also follow up with a phone call. And really, it's the message is how can we help you, and when would you like to schedule a meeting to have a conversation about your specific goals? So it's not really about selling them on anything right then and there. It's more about exploring and then giving them the information that they need so that they can be prepared and have the questions related to their particular scenario that they
Yes.
would like to have the service, so that they can get the
Sure.
service that they need to address
Mhm.
their specific needs.
Okay, so the lead basically comes in, you send them off some information, a text message, and then really we're not trying to sell them on that call. We're trying to book a meeting with them so that you can then go over any specific questions that they have, and you're basically setting a time that they're going to be fully attentive to the call.
100%, and it's all about offering a service.
Mhm.
And because these are leads that are submitting their inquiries to us, rather as opposed to us getting them on the call and saying, hey, like, when do you want to
Mhm.
buy, when do you want to sell, it's, are you getting the information that you need, and
Mhm.
if so, what questions can we answer for you to ensure that you're getting the right information,
Okay.
and how can we support you so that regardless of what stage you're at,
Mhm.
whether you're at the very beginning of the stage or if you're ready to make the move today, tomorrow, we want to make sure that you're getting the information that you need so that if you're preparing or you're planning, then you know exactly what the roadmap could be. We can help you set that up. Or if you're ready to pull the trigger now and we're the right fit for you, then we can work together to support you so that you're making the best decision and providing you with the best options to to support your situation.
And then what about those that, because a lot of people kind of look into information, not quite ready to jump in and take action. What does your follow-up routine look like for those individuals that aren't quite ready, that are on the fence, that may be 6, 12 plus months down the road from being able to take any kind of action?
So I think we have, so I have already set up a couple of drip campaigns for those longer, to nurture inquiries. And
Mhm.
typically, if someone is going to be at a longer stage, we, again, based on what the campaign that they came in on, we want to kind of identify what are okay, even though if you're 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, what is it that you like? What's the time? Okay, what's the goal?
Mhm.
Right. So we're not just creating just uh, like a boilerplate, let's just say,
Mhm.
response for everyone and anyone. It's we're helping people by providing with the, and then just making sure that we're staying on top of that with maybe a quarterly call,
Mhm.
making sure that they're getting the information, and then slowly kind of moving them through the funnel
Yes.
as they are, as they need. And really, it's not about pressuring them. Okay, well, don't wait till the best time to buy is today, not
Yes.
tomorrow. Like, we don't
Yes.
do that. It's
Mhm.
We don't believe in that. I think everyone's got a specific timeline for themselves. It's very
Yes.
unique. The
Mhm.
sales process is although fundamentally it's the same sales process for all,
Mhm.
but everyone's timeline is going to be different.
Yes.
And so the journey is going to be unique for each individual. And you can't really you can't kind of put them in a box. You just have to kind of let that flow
Mhm.
organically.
Yes.
And depending on where they're at and what type of supports and services they need as they're planning or preparing, we
Mhm.
just want to make sure that you're giving them the resources that are going to be valuable for them at that stage of
Mhm.
their journey.
And would you say that kind of, the whole stages and the questions and the information, that same routine you apply to both the mortgage and the real estate side of things is kind of the
100%.
same? Yeah.
100%. And we've curated a lot of the content that we have, the resources that we have. So based on the campaigns that we have set up for real estate, we know that these are, like, the common denominator is that these will be consumers that are in a transitional phase.
Mhm.
You're either going to be buying something to upgrade or they're going
Mhm.
to be buying something to downsize.
Mhm.
And once we've kind of identified um, which avatar they fall under, right?
Mhm.
Then we have resources that we then share, and like we would then send them the information that's going to best suit those needs.
Yeah.
Or if it's a first time home buyer and they're just kind of exploring to see what could that look like as well.
Mhm.
Same thing. We want to make sure that we're providing them with information that's going to best support them. And the
Mhm.
questionnaires on the real estate side are very helpful for that, because
Mhm.
when they're tagged a certain way,
Yeah.
it just simplifies, especially in the CRM. And that's something that I really love about the Agent Creator on the real
Mhm.
estate side. Those questionnaires are so valuable because it really gives you an opportunity in a non-invasive way to
Mhm.
get a little bit more from the particular prospect in terms of what it is that you're looking to do, like what their timelines are. And you can curate some of your messaging
Mm-hmm.
and as well some of your strategy according to that.
Yeah.
So it's really helpful.
Yeah, it's helpful. Well, especially those, for first-time buyers, for example, right away that they're a first-time buyer. So when you're talking to them, it's this is something they haven't done before.
Exactly.
Did you modify your questionnaire, or did you just leave the standard one that Agent Locator has?
I left it as it is. I didn't know that you can modify it. Again, just showing you how much potential that there is in the system that I haven't really tapped into yet. But it's been very helpful so far because it's still allowed us to get a sense of who's at what stage kind of right away. And for those that do complete them, it helps us because it also tags them in a certain way, so we can actually send them info that's going to best support them. And for the ones that don't fill it out, then like for us, it's just connecting with them and getting on the phone, or a text message, whatever the communication method that works best for them, to try to get those details and support them.
Yeah. And is there any specific, so you like the tagging, and because that helps you obviously know how to direct conversation and information, are there any tools within Agent Locator that have really helped simplify things in addition to those things, like whether it's campaigns, any of the additional automation, like what are your best favorite features in the system that's been helping you so far?
So I love the drip campaigns. I love a lot of the automation and the completion actions, and I love how you can kind of trigger campaigns. You can start and stop different campaigns based on certain completion actions, which is very helpful. The other thing that I really, really like, and I'm looking forward to kind of diving into, which I think is going to really simplify things. I haven't used it yet, but I've subscribed to it, and I'm going to optimize and set it up, is the chat AI bot. I think that's going to be extremely hot, especially combining it with Twilio, where they can now communicate with the consumers and kind of build and engage and build rapport that way. I see some huge value there, and I'm really looking forward to tapping into that resource. I love the simplicity of being able to build landing pages as well in the back end. With the custom site, just on the mortgage side, it's been very simple for us to be able to go in and create blog articles and landing pages for like resources. It's super simple, and those would be some of the resources, like on the front end and on the back end. And I love the reporting pieces as well. And the other thing that I'm keen to take advantage of as well is kind of like the lead assigning, the automation of it. As I grow my team and I add more users into the system, it's also going to help automate the way that the leads are delegated. Right now, I'm still kind of manually going in because I'm kind of hands-on like that. I'm still kind of going in, just overseeing what leads are coming in, who's doing what, and then I'm manually assigning them accordingly. But I definitely see myself, especially as the volume of leads increases, as we start to extrapolate the potential of the back end. I see greater opportunity with automating a lot of those moving parts that I'm doing manually now. So that's also going to be very helpful. Yeah,
and a lot of the system is really just the setup, right? It's just getting everything going and getting it set up, and then once you've done that, the bulk of the heavy lifting is done. It just takes some fine tuning and tweaking after the fact where it's necessary.
Now, I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I said I agree.
Yeah. With respect to your leads and your conversion rates, how have you found? So I know, as we started, you had good momentum in the fall, which has kind of kept on going, kept you, now into the new year. What have your conversion rates look like with Agent Locator? Let's kind of look at both because they're two kind of sort of different conversion rates on your mortgage side and on your real estate side. And do you have an idea of like how many leads generated versus how many, from the mortgage, how many contracts signed or funded mortgages or refinances?
So with the mortgage side, it's still very new. We've only started, I think it was in November, December.
Yep.
A lot of the Facebook ads, the lead gen, like we're still there's a lot of them are still being nurtured.
Okay.
We've had a couple, and we've had a couple of leads that were very hot, that unfortunately, like on the debt consolidation side. But as we've probed and connected with them and got more info, um, the unfortunate thing was that they actually did not have an asset that they can use as collateral. But we were able to still refer them to someone that worked with unsecured debt consolidation. So that was from the perspective of being able to help someone that's in need like that. I think like we can draw some satisfaction.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
But I feel optimistic that as we do more and as we get more out of it, I feel like we're definitely going to convert 100%. I do.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then
on the real estate side,
I
mean, that because we've had it for so long. I mean, like I've had leads that became leads that converted into clients that became repeat clients that then referred me business, and then I actually did business with their kids. I got invited to their kids' weddings.
Oh wow!
So yeah, like I have there's one lead that I got from I think 2015 that I can tell you in all honesty, one lead that's manifested into at least over the 10 years of knowing them and the business that we've done with them, it's manifested into at least $250,000 in GACI over the 10 years. Just with the business that we've gotten from them, the referrals that we've gotten from them, and then the referrals from the referrals, and then helping, like I said, their kids. It was literally like if I followed the tree, like I would say one agent locator lead it's manifested into at least 15 transactions over 10 years.
Wow. And that just goes to show how great customer service, and kind of going back to your olive tree and how you need to nurture and water them, and how that one person can turn into a magnitude of opportunity for you. Absolutely. And again, it goes back to the relationship, right? Like really just going at it from a position of service and relationship building. Yes. It goes a lot it goes a lot further than trying to be just transactional. Yes. Don't get me wrong. Like I've dealt with clients that are like, no, like we're not buddies here. Let's just keep this transactional. Yeah. That's cool too. We're happy to help those guys as well. But with time, they learn to appreciate it. They did learn to appreciate the value that we brought to the table from the level of service. But we kind of killed them with kindness, and then we became friends afterwards anyway. Yeah. So you're gonna have those people that are, this is a business transaction. We're not buddies. Yeah, you're gonna find those people for sure. 100%. And I had a client, one lead that we had that was also, this was a fantastic lead that was a multi-million-dollar buyer that came through Agent Locator as well. And they were like, the first interaction was, hey, as we were kind of going through the initial conversation to meet with them, we were like, hey, help us, can you give us some more insight just so we know, like we're not, and you receive an online lead and it's like, I want to look at a $3 million house. Yeah. You want to kind of qualify them just a little bit, right? Like you don't want to for sure, right? Right. Sure. So, as we did that, and I remember, I'll never forget the response. The response was, yeah, we know what we're doing. Don't worry about us. We're good. And then that was essentially the initial, and then we met with them, and it manifested into a fantastic relationship with them. And we helped them buy a multi-million-dollar property, helped them sell a couple of investment properties, and they referred us to someone that also had like a $2 million condo that we were able to sell. Nice. Also through Agent Locator. So if I was to put a dollar value in terms of the leads over the 10 years, in terms of what we've been able to get in terms of sales and revenue, GCI, it's got to be like, again, and it's been very modest budgets. I want to preface that we've been very modest. I don't think I've spent more than $250 a month on my ad spend for Google ads. Maybe 300 right now. It's like the most I've ever spent. And my Facebook ad spend is like $150. So I've kept it extremely modest while we kind of work through getting a lot of these options. And so I would say
in all sincerity, I think I've generated maybe $500,000 in GCI
Wow.
in the 10 years of using the agent locator platform for AdWords and CRM.
And then what about
just
from pay-per-click? That doesn't,
Yeah.
That's not using other system tools and people you may be adding and referrals and what have you. Now, the last 12 months has been a roller coaster when it comes to real estate. I know a lot of individuals out there struggled to get deals or were looking for deals just because of buyer hesitancy. Do you know how many off top of mind, just through your standard, client relations and relationship building and follow-up procedures, how many deals that you got from any agent locator leads in the last 12 months, where a lot of people were sitting on the fence and not being able to get the buyers to budge?
Okay, so again, just looking at the past clients that came through agent locator as well, like basically everything, right?
Yeah.
I think we had about I would say we did about, and this is leases and sales, I think we did about a half a dozen transactions.
Nice.
That were agent, like that were direct, like essentially,
from
like if you originate the source, they were agent locator sourced. Yes.
Awesome.
And I think we did last year about 40 transactions.
Okay, nice. Just so keep busy. And that really goes to show the importance of having systems in place and follow-up routines, and in a lot of cases giving people the information that they're looking for, not just the information we want to give them or trying to push them into something that they're not quite ready to move forward with.
100%. And that's what it's all about. I think as professionals, we kind of separate ourselves, like we need to distinguish ourselves not as gatekeepers to data. I think we need to be facilitators to data. I think we need to open the gates and let people get access to information, especially in the like with the way that the access to information is now. There's it's a bottom. I mean, it's the World Wide Web's a bottomless pit. Like with this, there's very little. There's very little you can't find, right? And so I think we need to be at the forefront of being there to give the information, especially as licensed professionals. We know with AI and other mechanisms in place, there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of people that don't necessarily understand what they're reading as well, so they're coming up and forming their own conclusions with what it is. And I think now more than ever, we have an obligation as licensed professionals, not just now, but a duty to really be as forward facing as possible with the information and be giving it away as quickly and as easily as possible, so that we're helping consumers be informed and educated with the right information so that they can make the best decisions for themselves. And I believe that the professionals, whether it's a mortgage or real estate, or any professional service or business service, I think any professional right now that is giving the information away easily and not gatekeeping it, those are the ones that are now establishing the trust that they need with their clients or with new clients, and with online clientele or online leads, where it's even more not volatile, but like we're like building trust and losing it is very, very fickle. I think it's really important that you're at the forefront, you're at the front of that, and being the one that's handing out the information. And if you can take advantage of it that way, you can distinguish yourself significantly from a lot of other professionals.
No, absolutely.
And it's all about bringing value, and I think it's important to deliver value from the very beginning. And to do so, I mean, if someone wants information, I just want to know what's the market like in my place. I don't want you to send me a listing agreement for that.
Yeah.
Or I just want to explore what the real estate market is like if I decided I wanted to move into this area. I'm not looking to send a buyer representation agreement. And I think it's important that we kind of course, we want to protect our time. It's our most valuable asset. But I think being in a business of service, I think we also have an obligation to provide the right information to people as quickly and easily as possible.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people maybe misinterpret that educating them isn't about just, okay, you got to send a BRA and let's go and look at places. It's you know, it's taking the time to explain to them what terminology is and what the price, what, you know, kind of walking them through what that process could look like, and
Yes.
and not putting a defined timeline on how long that process should take, or
Yes.
yeah, you can only, you know, you got to look at 5 properties and make a decision. It doesn't work like that, right? And as the market has shifted now, where it's a little bit more of a balanced market, where now buyers have a little bit of breathing room, they can negotiate, conditions are normalized again. I think now more than ever, it's really important that we kind of approach this as educator and coach, almost like as a partner, a support, you know, like we're almost like technical support for real estate, right? Like that's what we got to be doing. And I think that just allows the trust factor to be established. And I think a lot of people really appreciate and value that, again, because it's so, access to listings is,
it's there.
Again, it's there,
right?
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're just going to show up, open a door, and, you know, shuffle some papers, like you're not really bringing value, right?
Yeah.
I think you bring value by being that quote unquote mentor to that client, and kind of take that approach and keep your emotion out of it. I think, you know, what I always tell my clients is, you definitely want to be emotional. Like I want you to fall in love with the house. I want you to, you know, my peers don't like it when I say it, but it's true. Like houses sell themselves, right? I don't need to sell you on every single house that we walk into. You're going to walk into a house, and the one that you walk into that's going to be the one for you, you're going to be like, Elias, this is it. You don't need me to sell you on it. My role, you know, the partnership is, client's role is to fall in love with the house. My responsibility is to find reasons why you shouldn't do the deal, and give you both options with no emotion attached, so you can make the best decision for yourself.
That's important, I think, is you know, keeping your emotion out of it. And I think that can be difficult for many, or it's a skill that you learn over time, right, on how to do that.
100%. And I think, and like I said, I think you kind of said it earlier, unfortunately, you know, because the market has not been as it was, I think anyone that got their license within the last, let's say, 10 years has been used to a very hot sellers market in the GTA. And now, and maybe even across Canada, right? Like, but more so just sticking in my own backyard. Like if you're in the GTA, and let's even think about the pandemic, right? It was literally as easy as, I mean, the buyer had to, the only option they had was to drive by the house, and then they had to make a decision.
Yeah.
It's like you're going into the house for 10 minutes, and then you got to decide if you want to buy it. You can't even do an inspection.
Yeah.
Which is absurd. Absolutely crazy. And so I think people got used to what that was like, and thought, oh yeah, well, if I'm working with a buyer, I'll just tell him, spend 300 grand over the asking and maybe you'll get it. Right? It was easy to say that 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Now it's more of a skill-based market if you're a real estate professional. And I think you really got to have good negotiation skills. You got to have very good communication skills, patience, of course. I mean, like, regardless, you know, thick skin, of course, regardless, right? But to me, I think, you know, being in a skill-based market, you definitely have to bring value in so many different ways. And the days of being a gatekeeper to data are they're long gone. They're long gone.
Yeah, for sure. And how would you say, because so you've been in real estate now for 8 years, right?
18.
Oh gosh, 18. I'll go my math. Should go back to school here. 18 years. And then mortgage you've been in for
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And so when you first started lead generation, how would you say everything shifted for you? Because a lot of everyone that comes into lead generation, they're all gung-ho, they're excited, they're anxious, they want to do it, they're new to the business in some cases, some are seasoned. How would you say, what was the biggest shift for you, and when did that happen, that you really started to see things change in your business and transactions started occurring more frequently?
It was a great secondary pipeline for us.
Mhm.
Our primary source of business still remains our sphere of influence, like our database, like our personal database is still our primary source of business
Mhm.
through past clients, referrals, etc., right? Repeat clientele. It's still very strong. And the lead gen pay-per-click was extremely helpful for creating a robust secondary pipeline
Mhm.
that we can now rely on for consistently feeding contacts into our database.
Yes.
So that was a transformative. So it was transformative in the sense that as we were, like of course, like we would nurture a database, put the
Mhm.
sphere here on the side, but
Yes.
then you have this pipeline coming in through Agent Locator, and as we started to connect and connect and connect and connect and build those relationships as well, it allowed us to now add more. So not only was it a great secondary source of business for us
Mhm.
with the lead gen and nurturing, but it
Mhm.
was also synergistic with the growth of our database,
Yes.
which was also very important for us and
Mhm.
continues to be. I think the other thing that's really important is, again, it's really positioning it where you got to look at it as well. You have to take the approach of you got to look at it as with a long-term approach. I think anyone that's going to come in, try it for a month or two,
Mhm.
and is, they're not going to see the value in it. If they're looking for something that's going to be more long term, like we're talking about running a marathon as
Mhm.
opposed to running 100-yard dash, right? And I think it's important for consumers to understand that with with pay-per-click advertising and lead generation, don't get me wrong, there will be the odd lead that will come in where it's like hot to trot and you're going to sell
Mhm.
them right away. But
Yes.
not every lead's going to be like that. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be a client one day if you nurture
Mhm.
it effectively.
No, for
And
sure.
it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I think as you do more, I mean, the idea is that you want your funnel. You're gonna have top, middle, bottom.
Mhm.
And everyone eventually with the funnel and gravity, everyone eventually gets to the bottom of that funnel, depending on where they are and what stage they are. Your responsibility
Mhm.
when the lead comes in is to identify where in the funnel do they belong and then to nurture them accordingly. And if you bring the right value with it, you can then move them through the funnel till they become a client. And day one, you're not going to see any of that action at the bottom of the funnel. But
Mhm.
if you do it the correct way, in 3, 6, 9 months even, you might find yourself working with like 3 or 4 active buyers, all
Mhm.
agent locator, and it takes time, but it's not just okay. Well, agent locator got me the lead, and then it was no good. Well, no, it's agent locator did its job by getting you the lead.
Mhm.
That's their responsibility. Your responsibility is now taking that lead, turning it into an opportunity, converting that opportunity into business. And I think that's the disconnect that a lot of people kind of lose.
Mhm.
And if they don't see that, then there's no reasoning.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know what
I
I mean?
know.
Like it'll be
It's
impossible for them to kind of see it any other way. And
Mhm.
if you can't, I mean, Agent Locator does its job by bringing people into your CRM. That's where it kind of starts and ends.
Mhm.
And what's amazing about the training resources that you guys have provided, which I really appreciate as well and value, you have so many supports in place and resources in place to educate the agents now, the sales professionals,
Mhm.
on how to take those leads and to convert them into opportunities in business. And that's something that's also a very unique offer that you guys do that is, unlike any other provider in the industry. Of course, they'll have resources and training and support, but not at the same extent and robust level that you're providing. And there's a lot of value in what you're offering as well in terms of the coaching and the training with the webinars
Mhm.
that I think any agent that's considering or has started using the system and they're kind of like, okay, well, I'm not sure. I would highly recommend to any of those real estate or mortgage professionals before abandoning the platform, maybe dive into some of the sales training resources that are available and
Mhm.
making sure that you are doing the things that you should be doing once the lead has come in so that you can make an educated decision for yourself before abandoning the platform. I think it would be short-sighted if you only gave the platform a month expecting to make $1 million.
Mhm.
This is again, like, it's 10 years that I'm using the system, and to me, it's, like, I can't think of any other way that, like, I can't think of any other platform that I would use when it comes to the pay-per-click. And I've tried different ones. I'm not gonna lie to you and say I haven't. Like, I've used pay-per-click campaigns with other companies and organizations before, and I can honestly say, for the investment that I made, my return on investment was zero. And it wasn't because we weren't nurturing or doing anything. I had no leads come in, period, compared to what I'm getting with Agent Locator. I can consistently say every month I'm going to get double-digit leads with my modest budgets. So, and it's very easy. I mean, once you have your systems in place, I mean, you turn on the taps, you control your budget, right? Like, you can increase
Yes.
it as you see fit. So it's all good.
Awesome.